Here's the usual WCCO slop. Notice how they didn't identify any of the state patrol officials who decided to enforce regulations that weren't even on the books.
Truck drivers who use Minnesota highways are suing the state of Minnesota and several high-ranking state patrol officers.
The lawsuit filed by the Owner-Operator Independent Drivers Association claims for the past 6 years, truckers were pulled over and given citations illegally, all because the state didn't have the authority to enforce federal regulations. Reg Chapman has more on the lawsuit and how much it could cost the state of Minnesota.
The lawsuit claims tickets issued by members of the Minnesota State Patrol are not worth the paper they were written on. The lawsuit is seeking refunds of fines and penalties associated with citations that were handed down by the Minnesota State Patrol.
Truckers are being stopped and state troopers are giving them citations. Those citations are getting paid, and there was never any authority by these Minnesota officials because they'd never properly adopted these regulations as required by the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration.
According to attorney Al Goings, the state of Minnesota never adopted the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration's regulations into state law that would allow state troopers to enforce federal law on state roadways. The lawsuit claims for 6 years truckers were pulled over illegally and fined for not keeping logs correctly or other safety violations like not having a fire extinguisher on board. Owner-Operator Independent Drivers Association President Jim Johnson says, in essence, because the federal regulations were not adopted by the state of Minnesota, there were no motor carrier safety regulations on the books that officers with the Minnesota State Patrol were authorized to enforce.
Prior to August 1, Minnesota simply didn't adopt the federal regulations it sought to enforce.
The state did adopt the safety regulations into existence on August 1st. But truckers say the damage has already been done. The alleged illegal citations they received were reported to the federal government.
That becomes a demerit on their record. It affects their ability to get insurance. It affects their ability to maybe even continue to keep working.
Now these independent drivers say they want their money back, and they also want the damage done to their driver's records reversed. The lawsuit claims citations and out-of-service orders issued before August 1st denied truckers their right of due process. A spokesperson for the Minnesota Department of Public Safety says he cannot comment about this issue because it has now become a legal matter for the state. Liz?
Reg, any idea how much the state would have to pay if the truckers win their case?
Well, Liz, this is a class action lawsuit that involves quite a few truck drivers. According to Goings, if the state is found liable, it could cost millions.
All right, we'll have to follow it. Thank you, Reg.